But to bring this back to current topics, it looks like the GF team aren't quite done breaking our hearts. Dipper and Mabel versus the future looks like a big episode that will build on things this episode was foreshadowing. So let's hope the team can deliver again. Alright guys, let's talk about the latest episode of Gravity Falls, Dipper and Mabel versus the future. This episode... Okay. Yeah, it was a pretty intense episode. Though if you've seen my reaction video, you probably already know that. But now that I've had a couple days to think about it, I think I'm ready to talk about how well this episode measured up to expectations. So before the other stuff happened, this episode focused on Mabel trying to put together a party to celebrate her and Dipper's 13th birthday on the last day of summer. Meanwhile, Dipper joins Ford to find something to seal the rift in a UFO. Yeah, aliens are finally confirmed. I honestly never gave the theories on aliens much thought, since the only solid evidence I ever saw was the formation in the cliffs. But it was really cool to see. The ships and the mechanics have nice designs, and the earlier parts of the episode have something I've been hoping to see for a while. Ford's questionable actions in the second half of the episode seem to have buried just how fun and eccentric he was in the first half. How excited he was to share the secret of aliens with Dipper, and great moments like saying setting your face on fire is faster than shaving. Before Ford was revealed as the author, this was honestly the kind of character I expected the author to be. Kind of like if the Doctor regenerated into Sherlock Holmes. I was just having so much fun seeing Ford act like this on full blast. This was the first big adventure he's been on with Dipper, and you can tell he's having a lot of fun. But it wasn't all fun and games. As they get deeper and deeper into the ship, Ford asks Dipper to stay in Gravity Falls after the summer and become his apprentice, and continues to throughout the episode. This has been the leading topic of debate since the episode aired, whether Ford is a bad person for doing this and inadvertently separating the kids. Here's my take. Starting with the pros, Ford is genuinely trying to give Dipper a great opportunity. He sees potential in him and thinks he can help Dipper reach it. But some fans think that by doing this, Ford is trying to shut Mabel out. I don't think so. At least, not intentionally. Mabel and Ford haven't had much interaction, but when they do, it's always been positive. Even in this very episode, he compliments Mabel's magnetic personality. Any harm Ford may have caused, I genuinely feel was unintentional. But that doesn't stop it from being harm. Like the fact he doesn't think that Mabel would be upset at all about Dipper staying behind. Just because someone is good at making friends doesn't mean they won't notice when the most important person to them is leaving. But I can forgive this easily since Ford just may not know that. In fact, it's very likely he didn't. But then there's this.
Gosh, we've never really been apart before. And isn't it suffocating?
Yeah, okay, that's bad. I'll give you that. While it's easy to interpret that line as Ford thinks Stan was suffocating him all his life, I think it's just some foreshadowing. Which brings up this point. Has anyone else noticed that Stan and Ford have barely interacted since Ford came back? In fact, in the past 3 episodes, they haven't even been in a scene together. I get the feeling the brothers will be having quite the confrontation in the next episode. That line suggests that while Ford may not be intentionally hurting anyone, there is something subconsciously going on. But until we go more into it in the show, interpretation on something so quick should probably be left to smarter people than me. So, does this mean I finally hate Ford for all the damage he's causing? Nope. Sorry guys, you just can't make me hate someone who is this much fun to watch and is at least looking out for one member of his family. I do think he has some serious issues to work out in the next few episodes though. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about the kids. Mabel is another source of controversy in this episode. Through the entire episode, she's trying to plan her and Dipper's birthday party, but her dreams of throwing the ultimate party and becoming a teenager slowly crumble. She finds out high school and being a teenager may not be what she hoped, and her friends can't come to the party. While it's always sad to see Mabel be anything but happy, these segments have some pretty funny moments. Like Grenda dealing with her clingy boyfriend, Marius. Yeah, remember Marius? That's still a thing. And it's really funny. When she gets home, she overhears Dipper accept Ford's offer over the walkie-talkie. Naturally, she's upset. Now, bear with me guys. Please hear me out before stopping the video. Of course Mabel is upset at the idea of Dipper not coming home with her, but that's all she is. Upset. For someone who spends the majority of the series thinking of how to make other people happy, she doesn't seem to care how much this meant to Dipper. I think this could have worked a bit better if Mabel knew about the offer earlier and had some time to think about if she should be upset or happy for him. but instead she's focused on how it will affect her not having her brother around. Gee, that sounds familiar. That's not saying I'm blaming Mabel for giving up the rift. After all, she didn't know what it was. Plus, there is something I don't see a lot of people remark on, but something I think is important. She is 12. I'm certainly not surprised her actions in this episode are fueled by her emotions and trying to keep her and her brother together. All I'm saying is that she's not completely justified in her attitude towards Dipper. In fact, let's talk about Dipper. This may actually be one of Dipper's best episodes. It's a lot of fun watching him trying to impress Ford and geeking out over the UFO. But then, Ford makes his offer. Dipper asks all the right questions, shows concern about Mabel, and even doubts he's worthy of being offered something so amazing. Before they can talk about it more, though, they come across the ship's security system. Now, I skipped over this part when I talked about Ford because I felt this scene, and the ones to follow, highlighted Dipper's character more. Ford says that the droids only can't see you if they don't sense fear. He advises Dipper to focus on his intellect to control his fear, but Dipper still panics. Later, after Dipper does the pretty heroic act of clinging on a shuttle that captured Ford and tries to rescue him in a wonderfully animated sequence, he crashes the shuttle and faces the droid again. This time, Dipper stands up to the droid and is completely focused on protecting his pretty badly injured uncle. This is what causes the droid to not detect any fear in him. This is the difference between Dipper and Ford. Ford has used the knowledge he has obtained to remain calm in those situations, while Dipper was so focused on saving someone he really cared about, he wasn't afraid. That drive to protect the people he cares about has led to some of his most heroic moments in the series, which is something Ford hopefully learns in the future. After all of this, Dipper accepts Ford's offer, either because he finally saw its potential, or he wanted to stay and protect Ford if something like this happens again, or maybe it's both. Again, it's probably left to interpretation. When Dipper is confronted by Mabel about what she heard, he does try to say that he will stay in contact a lot, but that's not enough to make her feel better. Honestly, the only bad thing I think Dipper did was bluntly state the hard truth to Mabel that summer has to end. But he immediately feels bad about it and even thinks of reconsidering his decision to stay with Ford. If you do want to pin something on Dipper, there's the fact that he never told Mabel about the impending danger in any way. Yeah, does that sound familiar? Oh, for crying out loud. Has no one on the show ever heard the saying, those who don't learn from the past are doomed to repeat it? So, who was the bad guy here? Who was the one personally responsible for the state of Weird Mageddon? I'm pretty sure it's this guy. You know, the one who's been constantly trying to make that happen since he first appeared and possessed Blendon somehow. Of course, the second Blendon asks her for the rift, you know what's coming. But the voice acting and animation in that scene are so well put together that it's still suspenseful and sends a chill through you as you watch it play out. So yeah, with this ending, things are going to get more intense than they ever have. But it also means that the last 4 episodes of this season, being the last episodes of Gravity Falls, is looking more and more like a possibility. Which is a shame. I was kind of hoping for an Avatar-style 3-season story arc. Now, nothing's been confirmed, so it is still possible that there is a 3rd season. But if there isn't, and we only have 4 episodes left, we still have a lot to cover. These would have to be some of the most tightly written episodes in television history. But if anyone can do it, it's these guys. This episode was very tightly written. I don't think a single second was wasted, and it still flowed very well. Hopefully they can pull this off, and hopefully you see where I'm coming from on these characters and their actions. Like I said back in my Tale of Two Stands review, no one is really without fault here, but that's not a flaw. In fact, it makes these characters more believable. Hopefully the events to come will help them grow the right way. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.